Hello everyone, my name is Mesut Badur and I am a PhD student in the Economics Department of Ural Federal University. Today I'm going to present a study which we work on it with my supervisor, Dr. Kazi Sohag. The topic of our study is trade integration and income inequality in the former Soviet countries. First, I would like to talk about the importance, motivations, and objectives of the study. After that, I would like to focus on data, model, and methodology. Then I'm going to move on to the main results and the conclusion of the study. Let me begin with the importance of the study. As we know, economic inequality is one of the most important challenges in today's world, and it has adverse effects on society. Although technology and globalization may have been key drivers of the extraordinary expansion of the global economy, their distributional implications are less certain and still fiercely disputed. One of the biggest problems facing economic policymakers in both developed and developing nations is that the recent rise in inequality across the majority of economies. The prevalence of inequality is even higher in former Soviet countries for many reasons. For example, these graphs illustrate the income share of the top 1% in 12 former Soviet countries for the last 23 years. And these graphs also show the income share of the top 0.1% of the population in our sample countries. As we can see, income share of the elites has remained at the same level or has increased. Therefore, we thought that this topic is worth investigating. Let me continue with the motivations of the study. Advances in technology, liberal market-oriented reforms, and the entry of the former Soviet nations into the global economy have resulted in a significant level of integration of the world economy. But it is generally believed that the advantages of rising incomes and aggregate GDP growth rates associated with the globalization have not been shared equally across all segments of the population. Our concern regarding the effects of the trade integration on income inequality has not been explained clearly by the empirical literature for our sample countries. This is our first motivation. The second motivation is related to the reason behind choosing our sample countries. The former Soviet countries that we consider have undergone an abrupt transformation from the command to the market economic system, which created new resource allocation processes and institutional reforms. Moreover, the transition to a market economy changes the social class order due to less competition and poor institutions inherited from the command economic system. Hence, it is crucial to examine the economic transformation process in terms of the internationalization in order to understand the reasons behind the occurrence of income inequality. So it is a valid research question to observe and examine the role of trade integration, which is one of the most significant components of the economic globalization, in inequality from the adoption of the market economy till now. The fact that these countries had the same starting point provides a unique opportunity to understand the real impact of trade integration and economic growth on inequality, which motivates us to conduct this study. Regarding the objectives of the study, the main objective of the study is to examine the effect of the trade integration on income inequality. Another objective of the study is to test Kuznets' hypothesis for income inequality for the former Soviet countries. Let me move on to data, model, and methodology section. This table shows our dependent and independent variables and the sources of data. We investigate the effects of trade integration, economic growth, and government spending on income inequality for the period from 1991 to 2019 by using a sample of 12 former Soviet countries. Regarding the methodology, to estimate our empirical model, we applied the quantile via moment approach developed by Makato and Silva for several crucial reasons. Firstly, our variables are highly heterogeneous across the countries over time. Standard panel data-based techniques often fail to capture cross-sectional heterogeneity and variation over time. Secondly, quantile via moment approach allows the use of methods only valid in estimation of conditional means, such as differencing out cross-sectional effects in panel data models while providing information on how the regressors affect the entire conditional distribution. Besides greatly facilitating the estimation of complex models, our approach also leads to estimates of the regression quantiles. Moving on to the findings, according to our results, the estimated coefficients of trade integration are negative and significant under all quantiles. The magnitude of the coefficient is higher at quantile 25. The coefficients of GDP per capita are positive and significant under all quantiles. The estimated coefficients of the quadratic form of GDP per capita negative and significant at quantile 25 and quantile 50. Our empirical findings imply that up to a certain point, economic growth increases income inequality. However, after a threshold point of the economic growth, it decreases income inequality in our sample countries. Regarding the role of government spending, the coefficients of government spending consistently positive under each quantile of the regression. The magnitude of the coefficient is higher at quantile 25. To conclude, we aim to investigate the role of trade integration in income inequality for 12 former Soviet countries. Results indicate that trade integration contributes to reduce income inequality in the selected economies. This inverse relationship is in favorable arguments with the trade openness. However, it is important to consider different measures of inequality, such as percentile measures of inequality, to understand which segments of the society enjoy from the trade integration. Our results also show an inverted U-shaped relationship between economic growth and income inequality, which validates the Kuznets hypothesis. Hence, our results clearly indicate that economic growth after a certain point helps to reduce income inequality in our sample countries. Moreover, a small group of people may benefit from the government spending, thus it promotes an even higher disparity. Therefore, government regulations should be made by designing the government spending that the middle and bottom classes can enjoy. Thank you. I really appreciate that you took the time to listen to my presentation.